They didn't just jump the shark, they didn't just embarrass themselves. WWE took everything they spent years building and set it on fire in front of the entire wrestling world. Because the moment Roman Reigns walked onto Monday Night Raw dressed as Santa Claus, professional wrestling credibility died a very loud, very public death. Be honest with me for a second, what was the first thing you felt when you saw that? Was it anger, confusion, secondhand embarrassment? Or did you just sit there in silence thinking there's no way this is real? Drop that in the comments, because this moment split the fanbase wide open. This wasn't clever. This wasn't fun. This wasn't harmless holiday comedy. This was WWE openly telling serious fans we don't care what you value. And before anyone jumps in with the usual excuses it's just entertainment, you're overreacting, wrestling is supposed to be fun. No, absolutely not. Let's break this down properly, because the damage done in this one segment goes far deeper than a bad costume. For 4 straight years, Roman Reigns was positioned as something sacred, the tribal chief, the head of the table, a once-in-a-generation aura that made every entrance feel important, every stare feel dangerous, every word feel calculated. This was a character built on dominance, control and fear, and WWE looked at all of that and said let's put him in a Santa suit. Think about that for a second. What other top star past or present could survive this without permanent damage? Hogan? Austin? Cena in his peak? Seriously, name one. I'll wait. Roman didn't come out slightly festive. He didn't wear a Santa hat for 2 seconds and move on. No, he came out fully committed to the bit. Christmas remix of his theme. Jingle bells layered over the music that once made entire arenas go silent. A red suit. A fake beard. A sack of presents. The same man who smashed legends, now waving at kids and ho-ho-hoing like he's hosting a mall meet and greet. Ask yourself this. Once a character becomes a joke, can they ever fully be taken seriously again? Because WWE seems to think fans have selective memory. The crowd didn't know how to react, and that should have been the first red flag. Some laughed out of shock, some groaned, some stared at the screen trying to process what they were seeing. That reaction wasn't joy, it was disbelief. Roman gets in the ring, grabs the mic, and commits to the Santa voice. Ho ho ho. Santa Chief is in the building. That wasn't bold storytelling. That wasn't character evolution. That was character assassination. And here's the scary part, this wasn't an accident. This was written, approved, rehearsed. Multiple people looked at this and said yes, this is good television. Let me ask you something, who was this for? Kids? Longtime fans? Casual viewers? Because it managed to alienate all 3 at the same time. And then it got worse, because Jey Uso came out. Remember Jey Uso's journey? Breaking away from Roman's control, finding his voice, building the YET movement organically, becoming his own star. Months of emotional storytelling, growth, pain, independence, erased. One. Entrance. No hesitation, no tension, no acknowledgement of their past, just us, Santa, YET, like none of it ever mattered. How are fans supposed to invest emotionally when WWE treats character development like a whiteboard that can be wiped clean whenever it's inconvenient? Quick question, do you think Jey Uso is better off as a single star or stuck back in Roman's shadow? Type singles or bloodline in the comments. Because WWE just told you your answer doesn't matter. Then came the props, wrapped weapons, Christmas-themed violence, a steel chair with wrapping paper, a kendo stick with a bow, brass knuckles with tinsel. This wasn't edgy. This wasn't clever. This was desperation disguised as creativity. Roman starts talking about the naughty list and suddenly drops CM Punk's name. Now let's be clear, CM Punk is over. Not because of WWE's writing. Despite it, and even his name couldn't save this train wreck. CM Punk comes out, and for the first time in the entire segment, someone reacts like a normal human being. You could see it on his face. Confusion, disbelief, restraint. Roman, what are you doing? That wasn't just Punk speaking. That was every fan who still believes wrestling should make sense. Punk tried to ground the segment in reality. Roman doubled down on the comedy. 2 completely different tones. 2 different shows happening at once. It felt amateur, disjointed, embarrassing. And then somehow it became a match build. Let that sink in. This wasn't a throwaway gag. This was the foundation for Roman Reigns vs CM Punk. Ask yourself, what's the motivation? No title, no established grudge, no personal history driving the conflict, just vibes and costumes. Is that really the best WWE can do with 2 of the biggest names in wrestling history? Jey Uso tries to sell it. Bless him, he tries. If my tribal chief wants to be Santa Chief, he'll be the best Santa Chief ever. Read that sentence again. Does that sound like something from a serious wrestling promotion or a parody skit? And then the standoff. Threats. Security flooding the ring. All while Roman is still wearing the suit. The commentators tried to sell danger. But danger doesn't exist when someone looks like they should be handing out candy canes. Roman closes it with "acknowledge me." And just like that, the most protected character of the last decade looked ridiculous. Now let's talk about why this matters. This isn't about being grumpy. This isn't about hating fun. This is about credibility. Once you turn a dominant force into a punchline, the damage is permanent. Fans don't forget visuals like that. Years from now, when Roman tries to reclaim that aura, there will always be one thought in the back of people's minds. Remember Santa Chief? That's not heat. That's mockery. Jey Uso's regression is just as bad. You can tell an emotional story about escaping manipulation, then pretend it never happened. That teaches fans one thing: don't get invested. It won't matter. And CM Punk? He deserves better than pretending this is normal. The man built his reputation on realism and intensity. Now he's cutting promos opposite a man dressed for a Christmas parade. How does that elevate anyone? Here's the biggest issue: this exposes WWE's mindset. They still prioritize short-term reactions over long-term storytelling. They still believe comedy equals engagement. They still think fans will accept anything if it's flashy enough. And you know what? The ratings will probably spike. People will tune in to laugh at it. And WWE will learn the wrong lesson again. Let me ask you something important. Would you rather have serious storytelling year-round, or cheap comedy moments that age terribly? There's no wrong answer, but be honest. The saddest part? The match itself will probably be good. Roman and Punk are professionals. They'll deliver. But imagine how much bigger this could have been with a serious build. A clash of philosophies. Legacy versus rebellion. Control versus chaos. Instead, we got Santa. That's not bold. That's lazy. WWE had momentum. They had talent. They had fan trust. And they gambled it all for a holiday skit nobody asked for. This isn't nitpicking. This is calling out a pattern that keeps holding wrestling back. Fans don't want perfection. They want respect. And Santa Chief was the opposite of that. Now I want to hear from you. Did this segment completely ruin Roman's aura for you, yes or no? Is WWE still capable of telling serious long-term stories? And most importantly, did this make you less excited for Roman vs CM Punk? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If this rant hit how you felt watching Raw, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're tired of WWE insulting your intelligence, make sure you subscribe to Ring Rumble, because we're not letting this garbage slide. Santa Chief isn't funny, it isn't clever, and it sure as hell isn't wrestling. And pretending otherwise is how the circus keeps getting louder. And here's the part nobody at WWE wants to talk about: this wasn't a mistake, this was a philosophy. Because Santa Chief didn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a long-running pattern where WWE refuses to fully commit to treating wrestling like wrestling. They say they want sports-based presentation. They say they want long-term storytelling. They say they respect continuity. But then, the moment a holiday rolls around, all of that goes out the window. Every Christmas episode, every Halloween episode, every time they think seasonal content matters more than character integrity. And let me ask you this: why does wrestling have to become a parody of itself during holidays? Movies don't do this. TV dramas don't do this. Sports don't do this. The NFL doesn't dress Patrick Mahomes as an elf. The NBA doesn't make LeBron cut promos as Frosty the Snowman. So why does WWE think it's acceptable to do this to their top guy? This is where fans start checking out mentally. Because when the product tells you none of this is real, none of this matters, then why should fans emotionally invest? Why should anyone care about Roman's next serious promo? Why should anyone take Uso's internal conflict seriously ever again? Why should CM Punk's words carry weight when the environment around him is a joke? Wrestling already asks fans to suspend disbelief. What WWE just did was shatter it. And don't overlook this detail: the Santa suit didn't come off. That matters. If Roman had torn it off in anger, if Punk had provoked him into snapping back into the tribal chief, at least then, you could argue there was intent. But no, he kept it on, all the way through. Threats, stare-downs, intensity, still dressed like a holiday mascot. That tells the audience one thing: the joke is more important than the character. That should scare you as a fan. Now zoom out even further. What message does this send to younger talent backstage? It tells them, your hard work can be undone overnight. Your character doesn't belong to you. Serious storytelling is optional. Nothing is protected. If Roman Reigns isn't safe from this, nobody is. And that's a dangerous precedent. Let's talk legacy for a moment. When fans look back at iconic characters, they remember moments. Austin bleeding at WrestleMania, Taker's streak, Cena's US title run, Roman's tribal chief reign. Now add this image to the archive: Roman Reigns, Santa suit, Jingle Bell theme. That's permanent. No rewrite, no retcon, no explanation fixes that visual. Do you think that enhances his legacy or cheapens it? Be honest. And here's what really makes my blood boil. WWE didn't need to do this. They had options. They had alternatives. They had smarter ways to do holiday TV without sacrificing credibility. Roman could have cut a serious promo in a decorated arena. Jey Uso could have acknowledged tension. Punk could have challenged him with real stakes. Instead, WWE chose the easiest, laziest path, because cheap laughs are easier than good writing. Now let me flip this back to you. Do you think WWE genuinely understands why fans are angry about this? Or do you think they'll brush it off as internet complaining? Because history tells us something uncomfortable, WWE only listens when numbers drop. And until then, segments like Santa Chief will keep happening. This is why channels like Ring Rumble exist. Not to hate, not to nitpick, but to call out nonsense when it crosses a line. Because loving wrestling doesn't mean accepting everything blindly. It means demanding better. So if you felt disrespected watching that segment, if you cringed instead of laughed, if you care about wrestling as more than background noise, you're not alone. Let WWE know with your voice. Let them know with your engagement. And let them know that fans remember. Because characters can recover, matches can recover, but lost trust is the hardest thing to rebuild. And Santa Chief did real damage. This is Ring Rumble, and we're not done holding them accountable.